So hello everybody and welcome to this session, this Well You event with Hannah Sharma, addressing your inner critic. Thank you, Hannah, so much for being here with us today, and take it away.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for having me. It means so much for you all to come and share Friday evening with us. I just want to introduce myself a little bit before we get started, and how I basically became a life coach and why I'm here with you today. So at the end of 2018, my life turned upside down really due to unforeseen health issues that led me to have a chest infection and literally cost me my heart. So to cut a long story short, a viral infection had caused my heart to become enlarged and it wasn't pumping enough blood around my body. So after many tests and months in a specialist hospital, I was put on the urgent transplant list. I had my heart transplant 2 years ago, just over 2 years, and thankfully my recovery has been amazing so far. It has taught me so much, and it's taught me that life is far too short to let negative self-talk stop me from living the life that I want to live. It taught me to become comfortable in my own mind and my body so that I can continue to grow and get the best out of this life. As you can imagine, my perspective on everything changed quite dramatically. Life is short. Our lives and the lives of those around us would be so much more beautiful and meaningful if we spoke to ourselves the same way that we speak to the people that we love. But it starts with us and the choices that we make. So I believe with patience and practice, we can change our mindsets so that we become more positive and full of self-love. My personal mission in life since all of this happened is to seek adventure, health and happiness so that I can achieve my own freedom and peace. So I'm continually growing and learning so that I can inspire others to do the same. The coaching session that we're going to do now will give you a chance to discover more about yourself, to reflect on who you are, your thoughts and your actions. You'll look closer at what your inner critic is saying to you and create a plan on how to make some positive changes. Just a little warning, it is fast paced, so I'll ask a few questions at once and give you a bit of time to write it down. Just keep writing, don't overthink it. You'll see, but it's very fulfilling, and you'll surprise yourself with some of your responses. Some of the questions will be on the presentation as well, so if you're a bit stuck, you can look up, but my advice would be stay in your head, keep going, keep listening, and just write out whatever you can. So grab a pen and paper, commit to being open and honest with yourself, take a deep breath, and let's get started. So we're going to look at the topic first. So your inner critic is that voice in your head that tells you that you're not good enough and you'll never succeed. It's that niggling inner voice that says that you're stupid or too fat or too boring to put yourself out there and get what you want. We all have these thoughts. Today we're looking at addressing that inner critic. So you're probably here with me because it's an area of concern for you at the moment. I want you to think of a general area where your inner critic holds you back to begin with. You don't have to be overly specific. So an area where you need to be kinder to yourself, or something about putting yourself out there at work or in business, or feeling good about what you look like or who you are. It must be real. It must really matter to you that you begin to find a way forward in this area. It must be something that you have control over. It must be for you, not for someone else. You can be coached on what you can do, but not what you wish someone else can do. So write down what you want to work on in one sentence for easy reference. So it could sound something like, my topic is my inner critic and I want to feel more comfortable in my own body or in my own skin. Or my topic is my inner critic and I want to have courage at work. So now go forward in time to a point in which your inner critic is no longer holding you back from what you want. Really visualize how that looks. The topic you wrote down is now resolved, it's sorted, it's scoring a 10 out of 10 for your satisfaction. So you're feeling good. So think about it, really feel how you're feeling at that point in the future. You're thinking positively, believing in yourself and reaching your goals in this area. Continue writing. So what do you see that's happening that shows that this issue is resolved? What are you doing which shows you've achieved what you wanted? What is your inner voice saying to you now that you've achieved it? What are you telling yourself? What are you thinking and feeling now that it's resolved? What are the benefits that you have experienced? What would have happened if you had not done anything at all? What impact has this had on other areas of your life? Now, I want you to list all of the different parts that you will need to resolve or focus on in order to reach this, to reach that 10 out of 10. So break the topic down into sections. If it helps, you can think of it as a circle in segments and break it down into the different parts that make up that circle. Which one aspect is the most important for you to address now? So which one of those segments will you choose? What made you choose that one? And what are the advantages of addressing that one aspect? On a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is everything in this particular part of the whole is as you'd like it to be, and 1 is you've only just started thinking about it, where are you now? So put yourself on the scale between 1 and 10. How will you know if you are one step closer? So if you've written that you feel like you're at a 4, how will you know that you're now at a 5? If you think you're about a 7 at the moment, how will you know if you've reached 8? Be really specific. What's happening that tells you you've moved that one step closer? When can you achieve this first step by? So it needs to take you towards your 10 out of 10 for your general issue. So it could be a goal for the next 2 to 3 weeks, potentially shorter, but not too much longer. And can you write this down as an outcome, but as if you've already achieved it? So use I am, or I have, or I do. So for example, I am swimming once a week and feeling comfortable in my bikini or my swimsuit. I'm feeling confident and comfortable to speak up in every Friday staff meeting at work. Make sure it's written in the positive. So I want, not I don't want. Be specific. If your inner critic is already telling you that this is impossible, it's too big, it's too challenging, how can you break it into something to achieve in a shorter time? If you're already bored by your goal, beef it up a bit, make it bigger, make it more exciting. Check that you're working on something where you have control. Now think about what you want to achieve by the end of this session. What do you want to go away with? A first step, a strategy or plan, 2 actions. Write down your outcome for this session so that you'll be clear if you've achieved your session goal at the end of this conversation. So to summarize this section, you should be clear about your topic. You should also know what finished will look like when you've resolved the area of concern. You have a clear goal for progress. And you should have a clear goal for this coaching session. You know how you want to move forward. Now, think of the negative inner dialogue that you have with yourself. What does your inner critic say to you regularly? By becoming more aware of your bully, you are taking control of your thoughts and you're committing to taking action. So it's time to stick up for yourself, question the critic, and ask for evidence. So are your thoughts factual? Is there evidence to back up these negative thoughts? Are these thoughts stopping you from achieving what you want? What are your thoughts stopping you from doing at this moment in time? So going back to your goal, what is going on at the moment that is causing you concern? What's missing in this area that you want? Be precise. Describe the things that are missing in detail. What is good that you want to keep because it's contributing to your goal? So what are you doing right and what good habits have you got in this area? Think about things that you've tried already to improve. For those things that were successful, even if it was just for a short amount of time, what exactly did you do? In what ways did you make it successful? When and how? And when you were successful here, what was your inner critic saying to you at this point? What were you thinking at the time? What kept you going with the success? And what do you think made it work? What was key to your success? For the things that weren't so successful, short or long term, identify at what point it stopped working. So what happened? What made it unsuccessful? And for those ideas that didn't quite work, when exactly did it go wrong? And what do you think might have contributed to that setback? How did your inner critic hold you back here? What was going on around you at the time? On reflection, what might have made the biggest difference and made you successful? So what have these thoughts, those things that we've just gone through about your previous attempts, taught you that you could use going forward? And what have you learned about your inner critic so far? And maybe what have you learned about yourself so far? What strikes you as being absolutely crucial to your success this time around? What obstacles are there which you think might prevent or hinder you from moving forward now? What thoughts might get in the way? What's the major obstacle? In what way is it an obstacle? Look at it closely. What exactly about it that gets in the way? Try and move away from any generalizations or big general statements. Be specific. How will it get in your way? How have you tried to negotiate similar obstacles in the past? And in what ways were you successful? What did you learn from that? What's transferable to now? And what still needs to be tackled to overcome this? What strengths have you got that you could use here? Write down a few of your strengths that you know that you have. What support do you have that will be important? So to summarize so far, you've written down the negative thoughts, you've challenged them, and you've become more aware of the truth. You know what's going on and what's not going on for you right now. You've highlighted what you have done about it so far and what success you've had. And you've thought about possible obstacles that might get in your way. We can now start to think about moving forward. So now you can think about your options. We're going to talk about what you could do, not necessarily what you will do. It's not the stage to select one or two options, but we're going to generate several ideas on the possible ways forward. It's basically like a brainstorm. So just let everything flow. Don't edit your thoughts, just get them all down. So what ideas do you have that might move you closer to your goal? I want you to really think about what a friend would say in this situation and replace any negative thoughts that you have with positive ones. What could you do if you weren't answerable to anyone? What could you do if your resources were unlimited? What could you do if you devoted yourself to resolving just this issue? You let everything else go and you focused solely on this. What could you do if you didn't have to live with the consequences? There were no consequences to your actions. What could you do if you weren't scared of anything? What could you do if you totally, completely believed in yourself and your abilities? If you went to your best friend for advice around this goal, around this topic, what might they suggest for you to do? Refer back to the reality check, the section we did before, and review what you tried and learned from those actions. Think about where good ideas went wrong. Think about when things didn't go to plan. What new ideas does that generate? Look down your list. What else is there? What's missing? What other ideas are linked to the ones that you've written down already? What was your session goal? What did you want from this session? So what do you need to do now to make sure you achieve what you wanted? What else is there? Think of 3 more possibilities. Write down 3 more options. Now, I want you to look a bit more critically at the list you've got in front of you and maybe tick next to it, to any of them that looks right to you, that feels best. Which ideas will have the biggest impact? Which ones will move you closest to where you want to be? Which is the quickest or the easiest or the most challenging? Which one speaks to you the most? So which out of your list of options will you commit to taking action on? Maybe circle it or tick it, however you want to identify it. And just check in with yourself. Will these actions move you forward towards your goal? And if yes, stay with it. We need to get these ideas and actions really specific so that you can go away and ensure that you're successful. So exactly what do you need to do to put those options into practice? What are the specific action steps that you need to take? So split it down into small manageable parts. Write down all the little things that need to happen, the tiny steps that you need to take. What might stop you from completing these first steps? Think back to those obstacles that you wrote down previously. What might get in the way of these specific steps that you've written down? And what might your inner critic tell you to stop you from achieving this? What thoughts might get in your way? How might you negotiate these obstacles? What will stop it from stopping you? Can you write down some specific actions that will help you get around your inner critic and that will help you get around these obstacles? How will you challenge it? What else do you need to think about which might get in the way? And what are the ways around this? If you're thinking, I'll never be any good at this, try and change it to let's give it a try. As time goes on, you'll notice a shift in your mindset and the positivity will become the norm. If you've written something and you're already thinking, I can't do that, break it into smaller bits so that you say, I will do that. Who else should get involved with your action steps, with your plan? And when will you involve them? Regarding the actions that you've written down, when do you want to have this done by? So I want you to be really specific. So what day? This time next week, next Wednesday, next weekend? What time? Be specific. And how realistic are those timings? How strong is your intention to take these steps? So I'd like it if you could rate your commitment out of 10. So with naught being that you probably won't bother at all, to 10 being you're absolutely committed to doing these actions. What would be the benefits of taking these actions? How will it benefit you? Who else would benefit? If you took these steps, what would you be saying to yourself? And if you took these steps, how would you be feeling? From this whole exercise, I want you to think about what you've learned about your inner critic. And what you've learned about yourself. When you're ready, you can put your pens down and take a breath. I just want to run through a couple of pointers. So, when addressing your inner critic, the first thing you need to do is be aware of what the inner critic is saying to you. So, if you're aware of what they're saying, you can do something about it. The next step is to challenge it. So, ask yourself, where's the truth? Is it true? Are these thoughts correct? Is there any evidence to suggest that they're correct? The third step is to replace the critic with a friendly voice. So again, if you're thinking, I can't do that, tell yourself to give it a go. If you're saying you'll be no good at that, tell yourself it's worth a try. The fourth thing I'd recommend is journaling, which is pretty much what we've just done. You can find journal prompts online, or you can just free flow. I try and do it every day, and just get my thoughts out in the morning onto a piece of paper about how you're feeling and why you're feeling that way. The fifth thing is to practice gratitude. This is a huge thing for me. Since my transplant, I have so much gratitude for my life, for my donor, for my donor's family, and every day I wake up feeling grateful, and it has changed my whole perspective on life. There is one tip that people say to do, which is at the end of each day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. And it could be the smallest thing. It could be the cup of tea that somebody made you that morning, or it could be something bigger that's happened. But seeing the being grateful every day will change your attitude. Using affirmations, I've got a list of these on my free guide, which I'll give you the details for afterwards. But it just means that you're going through your day with good intentions, and you're seeing the positives. And a big one is, the last one is changing your online habits. We live in a day now where we're on social media constantly. And if you're comparing yourself to others, to their highlight reels, which aren't real life, no one's Instagram is real life. I think you can go for a cull. So get rid of the people that you're comparing yourself to, and use social media in a positive way for you, that works for you, rather than comparing yourself to anybody and everybody online. And this is a quote from Oprah Winfrey, which I love. So you can all read that. This is a call to arms, a call to be gentle, to be forgiving, to be generous with yourself. The next time you look into the mirror, try to let go of the storyline that says you're too fat or too old, your eyes are too small, or your nose is too big. Just look into the mirror and see your face. When the criticism drops away, what will you see? What you will see then is just you, without judgment. And that is the first step towards transforming your experience of the world. Remember, you are not your inner critic. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us.